Hello, guys. Welcome to 1878 Blues. I'm joined here by a Liverpool fan, a friend of mine who, me and him, we're quite hostile when it comes to football. We like to give each other shit every now and then. He's probably got the better, things to say to me because obviously I support this club, Everton. But yeah, this is the match preview for Everton v Liverpool, which is tomorrow at 12 o'clock, I believe, I think, or half 12. Um, so, how are you feeling towards the game? I know, obviously, you're much the superior side, but how are you looking into it with what's going on in the transfer window as well?
Um, to be honest, I'm still a little bit like obviously the form is out the window with the derby. We all know that.
Yeah,
Hughes could be like five losses and we could be on five wins and it still will make a difference. I'm actually not even that confident, like as what I would usually be. I'd normally be like cool. Like if this was last season or the season before, I'd be like cool, we're gonna wipe the floor with them or whatever. But obviously it's been quite a shaky start. Like even the Newcastle game wasn't convincing.
yeah,
Obviously it took like a last second winner.
mm,
Um, but even like first half was shocking. And obviously we had was United before that. I think United before that, which was even worse. So I'm confident we should. The fact we beat Newcastle and the fact we've sort of picked like we haven't even picked up, but like off of the back of a win, I'm a little bit more confident. If it was a draw, I'd have been like, yeah, this is not. If we start how we started, it's going to be a difficult game.
yeah. So obviously, like Liverpool, obviously are a team who don't really, in recent times, don't really have an unwanted record with anything. But so far this season, you've picked up a draw at Fulham, which was like you know yourself, it wasn't the best performance, and it could have been worse. But listen, you got a point at the end of the day, and you obviously got beaten by Man United, which was obviously a performance I think none of us expected. Yes,
Yeah,
potentially, there's obviously the midfield was an issue before the game, but still, you didn't expect the way United was and the way the team have been playing in the past year or two that they're gonna have any chance of beating you. So obviously, you're coming into this game with no wins this season away from home. Obviously, you've mentioned about the other results, which have been kind of a struggle apart from the Bournemouth game.
yeah.
Um, so it's listen, it doesn't really sometimes it doesn't matter about the form coming into a game, especially when it comes to like a Merseyside derby, which I treat it like it's a cup. Obviously, we tend to lose a lot of them, but I think you know what
Like, I
it's
put
a hard one
I
because
put a
if
post
we
up.
turn up, we get slaughtered.
Like
Um,
I put a post up mid Newcastle game. Like this was when we were, I think, just after Isaac had scored the second one, but obviously got ruled out. I put a post up saying Liverpool is shit, Bournemouth were worse, and that's what it was. Like the fact we beat Bournemouth 9-0 was a miracle. Like
yeah.
obviously they're just not a great side. So that's
You
me.
know
Like
what? You know what I think it was though with the 9-0. I'm going to be honest with you. I think over the years you've kind of had games like that, and I think because Klopp has had a lot of things to challenge for, or potentially just a bit of worried with injuries and whatnot, he's kind of killed the game off at about 4-5-6-0 and just left it as that. I think most teams like City as well and other teams have kind of lay off. But I think that game, because of the way your form has been and the way you've been playing, and obviously you got beaten by United, I think you wanted to really prove a point there. And still, to be honest, you could have made it 14, 15 nil. You could have scored any amount. I mean, I couldn't believe Salah didn't even get on the score sheet. Obviously, I didn't watch the game. I just seen that, I just found out some work that it was 8-0 up or something. I was like, are you fucking messing me? And then I just checked who scored and I was in to see Salah. I was going, this is crazy. But I just think that's the reason why that happened. I think if there's any other occasion, I think it was in the middle of the season when you've got a lot of competitions, you're playing, you're getting players injured left, right, and centre, which is kind of in the situation you're in now with your midfield. But I think just because of what's been going on, I think that's the reason why you've hit 9-0. And and it proves the point as well that listen, Bournemouth is shite. We all know that. But I think because of the Newcastle game, it still proves that. And you knew yourself you're not going to let that one game just slide and go, yeah, that's it. We're back in it now. We're back and forth. There we go. Newcastle was another test, and it was a test that you could have easily again dropped points.
Yeah.
So coming up against Everton, what do you think about Everton? Like, obviously, this is my channel and stuff, and I would like your opinion on what you think about Everton from an outsider's point of view. I'm going to give you quickly you give you yours, and then I'll respond.
I'm going to quickly go back. So I'm just quickly covering Liverpool again. So the Fulham result, I was like, okay, I'll take that one because they actually fought like hell to get that draw. Like, they could have came out of the win. And then when it was Palace, the draw, I was like, now it's a bit of a issue because I obviously knew them sent off. And then when United beat us, I was like, right, we're in trouble. And then obviously, yeah, the Bournemouth game was probably a bit of a retaliation. Everton, 1 sec, let me just have a look at your results. So, yeah, to be fair, the Chelsea one, that's expected. Like, Villa.
Did you watch the game, the Chelsea one?
No, obviously, because I was watching the Liverpool game. The Obviously, I mean, not even that. Like, no matter who plays well, Chelsea are expected because obviously they're a big six. They're expected to get the result. Villa, like, obviously, Gerrard's under a lot of scrutiny with that, like, in his job, so he needed that result. But like, again, that result could have gone either way. I thought the result you should have had was Nottingham Forest. Like, I know on your video you said a point is better, and I was like, nah, come on. Like, I know we can't talk because we just drew to Fulham, but I was like, you've got to the three teams that come up, like, especially for like yous, because now yous have put that you're in that position where yous are in that conversation of potentially going down.
Yeah.
Like, they're the teams you have to get a result against. So when you said, oh, points, like, it was fair enough, I was like, okay, I didn't watch that game, but I was like, they're the games you need to be picking the points up in. Like, like with the Brentford and Leeds, I don't know what it is with them two. They've weirdly started playing well. And especially Leeds. Leeds have had a fire up their arse this season. So the Leeds result was good for yous. But obviously, you haven't been playing with a striker. I've got a thing actually. So I mentioned this to Alex. Yous were not able to get more pay in your team, but Newcastle were allowed to get Isaac in theirs. I don't get that because Morpay was already playing in England and in the Premier League, but Isaac wasn't. So I don't get like how obviously I know he's had to register him in the squad, but I was thinking how have they not been able to register Morpay, but Newcastle been
I
able
think it's just registering any player in general. I don't think it's nothing to like. Obviously, it's nothing to do with the work permit because he's already living here and stuff. I think it was something to generally just do with the registering a player for a certain time. And I think we was the only club that day to probably buy someone, unless there was another low profile signing in another league that we don't know of. But apparently that was generally the issue. Like we had to do it at a certain time on Friday for 12 o'clock, and we did it at 4. But I don't think we were told that they was having a bank holiday on a Monday. And Lampard was like, we've had them for 3 or 4 days. Like, couldn't you just push it through or something, or sort it out on a Monday or something, wait for an hour and get it through or whatever? It's just ridiculous. Which is very frustrating for us Everton fans as well, because obviously in my preview I was going, we're going to have more pay up front and blah, 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 blah. Just no one knew anything about it till, it happened. And I don't know if that was I don't know if Lampard knew beforehand. He could be lying. He could have easily said what he said, because he could have easily just not, he knew Mopé wasn't playing, but Leeds might have expected him to be playing and they've had a plan for him. And then as the games come along, he's gone, no, he's not going to be available because of this and that. So it could have been a tactic by Lampard, but also I could see he would be frustrated about it regardless. But I think he did that just to fuck up Leeds a bit in their plans. But regarding the results, Everton, the first game against Chelsea, I watched it. I honestly believe we should have got something from the game. I think it was basically a 0-0 all over. Stupid mistake from Decore, and it just cost us, and we had no strikers. And he was going on about this Koulibaly looking great or whatever. I was going, he's facing no one right now. Like, he's literally got 3 players who don't play up front like that. Then the Villa game, we haven't beaten Villa since away from home since they've come back up. So when people was going Gerrard, I was going, no, it was even Dean Smith. Like, we haven't beaten them away from a Villa Park since they've come back up. So that was just one of them games. We played all right, but it was a lot of fresh faces coming in, and it is what it is. The Forest game battered them. Should have picked up something. Now the Leeds and Brentford, lucky in occasions, but we was unlucky in parts as well. But it is what it is. They were both away from home. Always going to be tough. But when you mention about the Forest game, Everton from in recent history against promoted teams cannot seem to beat them at home. We get beat by all of them, and it's if you check the recent results against promoted teams, Sheffield United come back 2-0, won us at home. Even Norwich City beat us at home at our grounds. We cannot beat them, and I was looking at an outside perspective of it's better than what it has been. It's still crap. I was looking at Forest going, we should be smashing them everywhere. Let's get at them. But it's better. That's what I was saying. It's better than a loss. And a lot of games last season, you see Crystal Palace, someone else in 11th, Aston Villa maybe. The difference between if you look at the table, they've lost, let's say, I don't know, 8 games, but 13 draws. But we've had 13 losses and 8 draws. Like they've picked up points, a lot more points by drawing games, and we just seem to either win or lose. And I think as long as we're not losing, it's a positive. But obviously, there's going to get to a point here that we're going to need to win a game.
Yeah.
It's one of them. It's not great, but it's better than.
Yeah, like you've been saying in your videos, like your first win is where you get like that's your start of your season. Like, and obviously the later it goes and you don't win, it's
more pressure.
It's built. It adds pressure. It's on the players' minds. Like I'm looking at your next fixtures here, and I can't.
And they look bad, but we remember last season Everton had Chelsea, Arsenal, and a few other top teams like that, and we seem to beat most of them. And we're weird when it comes to the top 4 teams. You look like there's no chance when you look at it on paper, but we turn up, especially if it's at Goodison. The crowd's up for it. It's it's crazy. It's got crazier over since Benitez left. I think because they thought that that was the knife in the back there. That was the end for us. I thought everything was bad, and then that happened with him getting appointed, and him obviously going to get sacked at some point because the pressure of the fans was going to get to the board.
Yeah,
it was never going to work out well. That, and just ever since then, I think there's been a unity, and I think obviously Machiri's realised that we're not mugs, we're not fans who are going to accept stuff like that at our club, and we want our old club back and our old way of running things, because it's just been a show, as you know, and it's been well documented for about 5-6 years now that the transfer business has been fucking shocking. But looking at the transfer window, a lot of people go, it's being mediocre, and I keep seeing it on Sky Sports, and I'm like, I'm not asked. Like, our signs have been quite clever, and we're starting to think of buying younger players, getting the profit off them, trying to balance the books and whatever, and also just getting, like I said, potential with younger players and players of experience as well, which we do have in our squad, but none of them are like leaders. And I think the likes of Tarkowski and Cody are leaders, and that's what you need. And obviously, just to go on again, vast experience now in the Champions League, playing with the top players. And he said in his interview as well, he's got the same skill set. He is what he is, but he's more experienced now, and he's more, he'll be better for the team for us. He will help us. Similar to Delph, but obviously better than Delph, and obviously less injury prone.
Yeah,
I think it's a decent transfer window for us.
Yeah, like obviously, you and me have been chatting about obviously your Gordon situation. Like, and Lampard said Chelsea didn't bid 60 million. Obviously, if that's true or not, we don't know. But if they did, you should have took it. And if they bid, I hear like the 25 mil plus Brozier and Gallagher. If they did that, I'd just snap their hand off of that. Like, but obviously, you've got him, you've kept him at least now till January. That's what I mean. Like you said, you've got like a young player there who is, you can see he's decent and he's got a lot of room to grow. So if Chelsea think he is worth 60, who knows, in January, if he keeps scoring, he'll be worth 80, 90. Like, and to go back to matches, of course, those had a good time. Like, because obviously our form isn't great.
Yeah.
Like the Newcastle win, it was like a rabbit out the hat. Like,
Mm.
it is still gonna it is years of quarters probably at the best time. Like if years had us like in 3-4 games time and we picked
Yeah.
up on a win or two, it's a bit like right, they picked up a little bit of form, but
Yeah.
we're still in an awkward position.
So how
Um,
would you look at that then? You've won 2 games in a row. Would you? In my head, I prefer that because I'm not saying you're going to get cocky and overconfident or arrogance, whatever, think you can, roll over anyone again. But I would prefer you to win than draw because if you drew against Newcastle, it would add that extra incentive to smash us everywhere, just
mm,
like you did to Bournemouth. I know we're not the same level, Bournemouth, in a sense, but I just think I don't know. We could catch us off the break in the sense of, you're not in a good vein of form at the moment. Yes, you've won 2 games now, and you beat someone 9-0, beat someone 2-1, or whatever last minute. You're not, what I mean. I just think it could be better for us, like usually coming in this kind of form at the moment. In the past 2 games, I would prefer that personally. I think if, like I said, if you drew, I think your tails would be up your ends. Like Klopp wouldn't fucking have any of it.
yeah,
I think
like it's sort of like it's sort of a catch-22 because like we started awfully. Like that first half was shocking. Like we just couldn't string passes together. The front three were just not gelling. Like they're not well, obviously not gelling, but there was just something not going on. And obviously Salah's like, yeah, he got the assist for the second one, but I think did he get you think he got both assists? Yeah, sorry, he got both assists. But like he just again, obviously the fact he's not scored now in 2 games is a bit okay, not great. But I think, like I said, if we start the way we did, it's not going to go well. I think if we start like that, usually might score early. He just probably will because obviously he's have scored. He's have scored. You scored early against Brentford, was it?
um, Brentford and Leeds. Yeah.
You got to mean you scored early twice. So if we
Mm.
start like the way we have been and you score, we're already backed up against the wall. And obviously at Goodison, not the
You're
place you want to
expecting
be.
it, aren't you?
No, that's
You're
what I mean.
expecting us to have a fiery start.
No, because as well, because you'll say, okay, they've not like every game we've not been like except Bournemouth, we've not come out at the first half with any sort of intensity at all. So if
Yeah.
you just switch that on for the first half, I mean,
Mm.
Klopp's then got to work to get it back in. And it's even worse for Zach Goodson because obviously it is, if it was at Anfield, it'd probably be like, it'll be a bit better, but it's
It's going to be hostile no matter what. You've won
yeah,
a lot of games at Goodison, but obviously in recent times it's been a bit harder for you to win here. There's been a lot of draws and whatnot, but it's a hostile atmosphere no matter what. You're going to have players like Gordon flying all over the place. You're trying to dive, want to try and win free kicks. You're going to have potentially Mopé starting, who's a bit, we all know is a bit of a snide.
yeah,
That's the type of player we want. But he could be a wind-up merchant. It's just there's all possibilities there for you for it to go wrong for you. But again, we're speaking about a team who've been up there, being in the highest competitions, you know what I mean? Being there to the finals, whatever pressure. It's not really a thing you normally struggle with,
yeah,
especially in a game like this. I think you can go into it with confidence that we haven't won a game yet. That we're going to be desperate for the win. I think Klopp's not stupid. He's going to set up in a sense of, yeah, we're going to have the possession. We're not going to let you bully us. And it just all depends on who you put in midfield as well. I think that's going to win it now because especially the signings we've made. Yes, some of them need to gel, but I just think that's what's going to win the game is the midfield. And obviously you have doubted your midfield at the moment, but obviously you've signed Arthur Mello, which is a very decent player, potential. When I think he's playing for Gremio, and he was regarded as like one of the next top talents in Brazil and whatnot. And then
yeah,
went to Barca, and it just never really worked for him. And then obviously moved to Juventus. But he's always had potential there. I just think there's been issues with managers and stuff in the past, and I think that's why he's never really reached his peak level. But you never know. Klopp has changed players around before from players who were nothing to something. So
yeah.
what do
Like
you think? Like,
there's nothing in that deal. Apparently, it is going to be permanent. Like apparently,
Yeah,
it is just a loan. Like the fact I've been saying to like Alex and Kate, and that like the fact Harvey Elliott's been our best midfielder this season is not a good sign. Like,
no,
but like, it's good as in a sense of he's playing that well for a 19-year-old, and
yeah,
he's going to be special. But the fact, like, we have the likes Henderson in there, Fabinho, Thiago, and he's been outperforming them is not good. Like for me, I mean, Henderson's now pulled his hammy, so he's gonna. I don't know when he's gonna be back. To me, and to be honest, Henderson probably doesn't make our starting 11 now.
no,
Um, and I mean, even if he's in form, like I think he's gone back to his old 2015, 2016 self. He just
yeah, no,
backwards and sideways passing. Like I think he only made like 2 or 3 forward passes against Newcastle, and you sat there and you just like you can see players running, and he just doesn't want to. It's either like it's not. I don't know if it's that he doesn't want to, or he doesn't think he'll make the pass because he always passes it to Robbo and or Trent because they'll know he knows them two will probably make the pass.
mm,
With Artur as well, obviously, like you said, he was in Academia. He was the next big Brazilian midfielder. Obviously, went to Barca, didn't work out. Went now in them. Well, obviously, we've loaned him off Juve, but apparently, I don't know if it's confirmed or not. But apparently, he's injured, so we've signed him injured. Um, so if that's the case, then it's just like, what's the point? We've
yeah,
like Klopp's been sort of annoying us the whole window because like he's been saying we don't need a midfielder, we don't need a midfielder, and it's took injury for him to go, okay, actually we do need a midfielder, and like you've left it to like 4 days,
last week, yeah, the
you've left
last week.
you've left it till the last week, and like obviously he keeps talking about it has to be the right player, and we nearly had the right player, but he decided to join someone else,
Mm.
and obviously he's referring
Just a
to
weird one. It's a weird one for them to say that as well. It's kind
no,
of like
it was Tuchemeni. It was Tuchemeni. He was at Liverpool before the Champions League final, and I think it was sort of a whoever wins the final, I'm going to join situation.
yeah,
So Tuchemeni apparently was at Anfield, had his medical, and then Real Madrid won, and he went to Real Madrid instead.
Jesus
Um,
Christ.
so that's me. And so like that's what I've like we heard because someone who did the documentary, the Henson documentary, said Tuchemeni was there while he was filming it, having his medical, but obviously they weren't allowed to speak about it at the time. And then he went to Real Madrid. So that's the midfielder Klopp refers to when he says, "Oh, we had someone," but we're just thinking, okay, he was the ideal target, but why didn't you have a list of like 3 others in case that deal fell
Yeah.
through, which in football more than likely will.
What's
Uh,
the reason though? Do you reckon it's again it's going to go back to you and it's again just not wanting to spend on a player, only spend money when you make a profit off something? Is that what they reckon? Like they need some revenue from
I
other
don't know.
various sources or whatnot. Just to that's what I've heard. But that's why they don't spend on players. That's what Americans are like. The American
Yeah.
owners, I think, they
Well,
make money.
I've always had a thing with like FSG. I'm not the biggest fan, and I don't think any Liverpool fan is. Like, yeah, they've backed us. Like, they do back us because obviously they built the main stand and now building Anfield Road. They've got us big signings, but like we don't know if we get mixed messages because we don't know if it's Klopp who's like, okay, I don't need to buy anyone, and he's just stubborn because he's shown his stubbornness at like Dortmund and Mainz. Like, or we don't know if it's the board going, no, you're not going to get this much money, you're getting this much money, stuff like that. Like, so
You've got to be ruthless in this game, innit? And
yeah,
for you to fight with City at the top, you see City every single season, no matter how good their squad is, they replace signings, they replace players who've left, or they add
they
and
don't
get
even
rid of.
replace. Yeah,
But
they don't
and
even
it's
replace. They don't even replace. Like they brought in Haaland,
yeah,
Alvarez. They've now just brought in that Kanji as well. Like they didn't even need a centre back, and they bought a centre back. Like,
yeah.
so it's just a thing of
And they do get injured a lot. Their defenders, like like they're out for like six,
no,
7 weeks. It
yeah,
happens a lot. I think that's just an extra bit of cover just in case. But that's a weird signing. Like, obviously, I didn't expect it. There's no real news of City really needing a centre back, but I think maybe Pep's just thought this could be a long, hard season. And I just need to make sure, because they've had situations in seasons where Fernandinho played a centre back,
yeah.
and in crucial games as well, leading up to like the end of the season. I just don't think he would want that. I think he just wants as much cover as he can, which they can afford. But it just questions. It's just stress. It just worries me about it. But it confuses me about Liverpool because of just like especially in these days as well. You need to keep buying to get and stay at the top. You know, it's a hard thing to be consistent at the top. You can see other teams like Tottenham, who I don't think is going to be up there at the end of the season, but they're going to be fighting fourth or third, and they're growing. You know, you got Arsenal growing. And we say this every season, every team does grow in terms of buying players and whatnot, but I always feel like users are so, I don't know the word for it, just hesitant in buying.
Yeah.
And it's mad because you just can get anyone. You know, you don't need to say to a player, would you like to come? They'll just go to Liverpool. The history, everything about them, the fighting at the top, they're always fighting for everything in recent years. And it's just mind blowing because as a Liverpool fan, I'd be so frustrated knowing that you've got players there, fringe players who really don't need to be at your club anymore. They've done the job or they haven't. And everyone's got an expiry date. And you've got the likes of Chamberlain who's injured. And you just know it's going to happen when he comes back. You will get injured in a few games, a few weeks' time.
Yeah.
It's just consistent. And you've lost the league sometimes by 1 point. Well, once I think it was.
Twice.
Or twice, and close other times and whatnot. And you can't fully go, well, if we had an extra player, blah blah blah. City have just been that good, sometimes. But I still feel like to keep up with everything and in competitions and not completely strain your players to the point they get injured all the time.
Yeah,
you need more reinforcements. Like Keita as well. He shouldn't have Keita. It's just crazy. There's times where I see him where you post about him. He has 4 straight games and he's fantastic. Everyone's raving about him. He's back, blah, blah. And then he gets injured or he just drops form out of nowhere. It's just mad for the top club who don't consistently buy. Like every other team, Bayern Munich, they bought about 5 or 6 players or whatever. They're always chopping and changing and refreshing the squad. And I feel like you've had this squad for so long now in terms of your first 11. It's not the same back in the day. I feel like you could have done it back in the day, with the Chelsea's of Drogba and Chelsea side with Drogba, Lampard, Essien and all that. They had them type of players, the same type of squad for quite a number of years, apart from a few signings and whatnot. But I feel like Liverpool's first 11 have been around for ages and it just hasn't really changed at all.
Yeah, like you said, we've got players who just have had the time. Like I don't rate Keita. Like I think he just never took off. Like apparently he's come out now and he said, he's not happy with his game time, and all of us sat there like, you cheeky like fucking asshole. How are you unhappy with your game time when you can't even take fit for game time? Like, so that's if I'm. Obviously, I don't know what the case is. I don't know if he'll be binned off in the summer on a free because I think his contract's coming up. Like, I wouldn't even be bothered. Like, obviously, our dream is Bellingham. Like, every Liverpool fan's dream is to get Bellingham in because, young, fit, like, looks promising. Like,
are you worried by the time he comes? Because you never know. It could be next summer. It could be the summer after. Who knows? I can see it being next summer, to be honest. Are you worried that the players you have now are going to start? Because everyone has their moments of, starting to drop off. Like you've got players who are getting older. You've got, Van Dijk is getting older. Who I don't think that's a massive issue because he's not a player who plays like a 25-year-old. He's always played like he's about 40. Like he doesn't have to run that much. Blah blah blah. And there's just other players just worried that when he comes in Bellingham, you're in a transition stage. You'd love to get him in right now when you use it at your peak with players. It's just. And then you don't, obviously Klopp is obviously extending his contract and whatnot. Is he there for like another 3 years?
Till 2026.
2026. So, it's one of, it's actually a long time to be honest, but a lot can change over time. You know what I mean? United have gone from something to absolute nothing in a couple of years when Fellaini and all that joined and whatnot. It was crazy to see United drop off like that. It can happen to anyone. So, I think it's a bit of a worry with Bellingham because then would he like to come to Liverpool in a year's time if you've not really done anything this season and some players are looking to leave? All kinds can happen from now and then. So, you just don't know, but you definitely need we should have got reinforcements in the midfield, especially. I feel like again you're missing a number 10. I know you really haven't needed one in years
No,
because
I think we are. I think we have. Like, despite our midfield being fine, I think we have not missed a number 10, but a number 10 is a good option to have in your squad because he can unlock a door in a defense. Like, if we keep playing, like Thiago can, because it's one pass of his can cut a defense in half, but obviously he's a 6, so he's a bit back and forth. Whereas, like, obviously, since Coutinho's gone, we haven't really had that person who's been sitting behind 3. Like, so I think, obviously, I think the team might benefit from that. But yeah, Klopp, I think, has this loyalty thing, and he just doesn't break the loyalty that he's got with the team. Like, because I think
formation in a few years now.
It's not even about the same formation. It's just players. Like, on occasion, Trent should have been dropped. On occasion, Henson should be dropped because they're not good enough and they continue to play. Like, not saying like Trent isn't good enough. Like, like the last couple of games, he's been shaky. Like Newcastle, he was all right, but like Henson's just not been with it. Like, I don't know what it like, but we can't rely on Milner because he's 36. Like, we can't rely on Elliott because he's a kid. So, like, we need a new player there. I mean, well,
Fabio Carvalho could be in the number 10 now.
No, that's me. Carvalho. I think Carvalho will be. I think what he's done is he's been like Klopp's been quite clever with Elliott and Carvalho because he obviously Elliott at Fulham as a winger, and he now plays Elliott in midfield.
Yeah,
Carvalho, like, he knows if he has to, he'll stick one of them on the wing. Like Carvalho, like I was saying, because Bobby, like when Nunes got suspended, I was thinking, okay, if Bobby doesn't play well, stick Carvalho on the right and put Salah down the middle. Like, because obviously you'll have that sort of dynamic. Like, obviously Salah likes coming in from the right, but it's a change. But Klopp's just got this loyalty to the 11 that he picks, and he doesn't. It's like he just doesn't want to change it because he doesn't want to. Again, he probably doesn't want to upset a player, but if a player deserves to be dropped, they have to be dropped. Like, no one should feel safe in the starting 11.
So what do you think then? So what do you reckon your lineup's going to be? Because obviously we said the midfield's going to be a big battle. We're most likely going to have Onana, Gay, and Iwobi in the midfield. Onana's got like a big presence about him. I feel like him and Fabinho will be absolutely, the what's it called? The battle with them two is going to be, crazy, to be honest. I think obviously Onana's to the league. He's not, he's only 21 years old. Fabinho's got vast experience. He could pocket him all day, all game. And, you've got obviously Gay who likes to sweep up the midfield. And then you've got Iwobi, just literally doesn't stop running. He's just, people have said in training, I've never seen a guy who just literally can play probably 2 matches in one day. He's crazy. So legs like that as well, are you concerned at all about the midfield and what do you reckon your lineup's going to be for this game? Obviously, you probably have an idea already because of Klopp's stubbornness.
Well, obviously it can't be Henson because he's injured. I think it'll probably be the same 11. Well, I don't know, because Matip was on the bench against Newcastle, so depending on if he's 100%, Matip might come in, but I probably won't. So it'll either obviously be Van Dijk and Gomez or Van Dijk and Matip. Midfield probably going to be Fabinho, Milner, Elliott.
Yeah, what do you think about that? I know you've been quite critical of that. Do you think that's better than what you have got to balance a bit because you've got a bit of youth?
I think that's the midfield he's got to go with because he can't throw anyone else in. I think that will be. I think that's what it will be. But I think Carvalho probably should be in it, but he probably won't be. And I think
because of the physical presence of the game, the way it's going to be.
Like, if Artur's fit, I don't think he'd put him in because it's too big of a game to throw him in first game. If he does, I'll be surprised, but I don't think he will. I think that will be the midfield. It'll be Milner, Elliott, Fabinho, and if it is, then it's going to be an interesting first half. I think the front three will be the same: Diaz, Salah, Firmino. I think after the last 2 games Bobby's had, I don't think he can drop him.
What happens if he drops him? Though, what's your first?
If he drops him, then fair enough. But if he drops him, fair enough, and puts Nunes in, fair enough. But if I'm Bobby, I'm pissed. If I'm Firmino, I'm annoyed because I'm like, I set up, I assisted like 3 goals against Brentford and scored 2, and then I scored it against Newcastle, and you're dropping me. Like, if I'm Firmino, I'm pissed, but I don't think he will. I think he'll play the same from 3, and
I think with us, we'll go with Pickford, obviously, and then right back Patterson, who I've been quite impressed with already the start of the season. Centre backs Cody and Tarkowski, Holgate's out, Godfrey's out. So that was our back central 3, because obviously it's a good balance of 2. All the players' experience, and then you've got your youth with your legs. And obviously that's not going to be the case now. So I think we're going to set up quite similar to the Leeds game. You have Milenko on the left. Than I said before, I think Idrissa Gana Gueye is going to get thrown right in. I think we need someone like him as well. I think there's been too much pressure on him.
Just to jump in, this only let me record another minute.
What?
It's only let me record 1 more minute.
Okay. And I think it's going to be Idrissa Gana Gueye, Onana, and Iwobi, and then it's going to be Gordon, Gray. I think McNeil gets dropped, and then I think Mopé will start. But I think that's it. So what score do you reckon you're going to be? What's the prediction?
2-1.
For yous?
Yeah.
I'm going to weirdly say 2-0 to us, and I have no idea why.
And you know if it is, I won't be surprised.
Yeah. But anyway, thanks for joining me. Thanks for joining me, Jason, anyway. Hopefully we can do a match reaction to the game. Obviously, I might be crying probably, but let's just see what happens. Anyway, I'm off anyway, guys. The next video will be the reaction tomorrow. I'll see you about.
Bye-bye.